Good evening, everybody. Hope you're doing well. Welcome, welcome. Good evening. Please put your city and state in the chat so we can recognize you. I'm going to get us set up here. We have some things to talk about tonight, so I want to welcome everybody.
Hello, everyone. Hello, hello, hello.
How you doing, Tawana?
Just fine.
Good. It looks like we are live streaming. So our little system is so weird. Sometimes it asks me for additional information and sometimes it doesn't. So we're going to take a couple of minutes to get set up here. Everybody get dinner or your favorite glass of wine or tea or whatever it is you're eating and drinking. And let's see here. Okay. Let's see here. Everybody, again, put your city and state in the chat. Oh, I think I just missed us. Here we go. That's on the page. I'm looking for us in the Facebook group. And Facebook is so confusing to me sometimes. It's hard for me to find where things are.
I don't see us in the regular. I don't see us yet in the regular page.
Yeah, I don't either. Because usually it asks me to put some details in before we start restreaming. So let's see here. Is that Dr. Keisha? Yeah, I see Dr. Keisha. Hi. And I am seeing us live. Let's see here. I see Antoine in here saying good evening. So, okay then. And it's still sending data to a couple of other places. That seems to be the problem. So I don't know if we're going to be everywhere tonight then. Okay. We may have to keep moving despite our technical difficulties and figure it out next week. So, okay. And I still can't hear Dr. Keisha. Are you talking?
Good evening.
Yes, now we can hear
Okay.
you. Yes. And Eric, it seems like you're still trying to connect to audio. So
Audio,
I think
yeah,
we're all having some technical difficulties tonight.
I need better lighting too. My chair is getting eaten up.
But in the meantime, I will say hello to everybody we've got here. Jacksonville, Florida in the house. We have San Diego. We have Orlando, California, Louisville, Bay Area.
Louisville in the house, okay.
Now we got the
Wharton,
in the house.
Everett, Washington, Indiana, Pensacola. Somebody saying dinner, I'm starving. I know. Norfolk, Virginia, McKinney, Texas, Miami, Atlanta, Orlando. Hey, Julie from Miami. How you doing? That's our Christian radio station, WMBM. West Palm Beach, Charlotte, Chicago, Delaware, DMV, Mount Vernon, Philly, West Virginia, Jonesboro, Georgia. So we want to say hello. Everyone, welcome to everyone this evening. So we have some news. We have a couple of announcements to make this evening, and we're so happy for all of you who are here. Put a 1 in the chat if you are a member.
Yeah, just
Do me that favor. Put a 1 in the chat if you're a member. Put a 2 in the chat if you're not a member. Okay, so we have a lot of 1s here.
You're not a member yet.
Not a member yet. Okay, so it's mostly members here. Great. So for those of you who are not members, you'll just come along for the ride. But a lot of people here tonight are members. Okay, great.
great.
So we have some big news for members. We actually have 2 big pieces of news for members. Arlene is saying 2 not yet, so we're hoping to change all of that very soon. We have 2 big pieces of news, and I promised our members, I sent out an email last week, I think on Friday, saying that we had a major announcement, and I said that I would not delay. I would let you know what the major announcement is. So we have a piece of good news, and then we have a piece of news that's not bad. We just have to shift some things. So we wanted to be forthright with regard to our members, kind of let you know where we are with the 10K project, let you know that you are going to see a shift in some things, let you know that we have spoken to legal about some things, and they have asked us to change slight course with what we have been doing, and we did not want you to come back 2 months from now and say, what's going on here? You know, that wasn't what they said in May, right? So we want to have a conversation with everyone. So first of all, let's, Tawana, do you have the mask?
Oh, I do. Hold
So,
on.
while Tawana's going to get the mask, what I'm going to do is do a little 5-minute intro, and within that 5-minute intro, I'm going to talk about our slight shift, and then I'm going to have Tawana show you the good news after we're done with talking about the slight shift. So give me a second. Let me get my and I promise tonight will really be just 5 minutes. So within 5 minutes, I'm going to tell you what our news is. So we've been talking about the 10K project and how we can help build the Black economy. And the shift that we're making is going to be in the way that we are presenting the 10K project. So we have an attorney that we're working with now who has helped other crowdfunding portals get approved. And she's been working with us now for about a month. And about a week and a half ago, she looked at our website and she looked at our signatures and the way we had been communicating with our members and with prospective members, more importantly. And she basically said that we needed to change the way that we communicate with members and with prospective members. And what does that mean? It means that as of this moment, we are not an approved equity crowdfunding portal. So before, when we were saying, you know, we are able to raise $1 million and we are able to help create jobs and we are able to help build Black wealth. The concern that she had was us saying we, because right now we are not an approved equity crowdfunding portal. So she's asked us to change our language. She has said that, you know, she very much believes in what the 10K project is doing. She does not see that, you know, foresee that there are going to be any extreme concerns However, nobody, including us, can promise that we are going to get approved as an equity crowdfunding portal. So the presentation tonight is going to be reflective of the way that we have to present the 10K project until we are approved by both the SEC and Finra. Go ahead, Tawana.
I was just going to say, I just want to throw in there where we are in that process. So we have already filed with the SEC, and we are gathering the remaining documents to be able to file for Finra. So how the process works is you file with the SEC has 30 days to respond with their approval or with comments if they have any questions. So this shift is really to avoid having the SEC ask any questions, because if they have questions, then that delays the process beyond the 30 days, right? So her recommendation was, if you take these things off the website and kind of change the way you're presenting this until you receive the approvals, that will minimize the risk of there being comments back from the SEC that you then have to respond back to, which then adds more time on their review process, right? So ideally, you want the SEC process to be that 30 days. They come back with their approval, and then you submit the remaining Finra documents so that you can then get their approval to be a registered member of Finra. So that's the process that we're trying to stay within the realm of, right? It's the easiest road to approval. So we made some accommodations that Cherie's going to talk through as a result of that.
Yes. So as a result as well, we are going to be, we were already focused on the Knowledge Center. We're going to increase our discussions about the Knowledge Center and decrease our discussions about anything to do with equity crowdfunding until we are approved. Now, the attorney said that in this forum, this specific forum, we are able to let people know that we have applied for equity crowdfunding portal. However, we should not put it on our website because it does not allow for people to ask follow-up questions. We also, anytime someone becomes a member or is thinking about becoming a member, we have to say, we are not sure we're going to get approved as an equity crowdfunding portal. So in other words, if you're really only excited about equity crowdfunding, then, you know, we cannot be assured that we're going to get approved. However, we are hoping and praying that we put so much into the Knowledge Center that you would believe in that, and you know, you go on this journey with us, and Lord willing, we are approved and everything would be great. But if we're not, that you would not feel slighted or cheated or whatever, because you were promised something that we could not, that we have no control over. So just want to make sure of that. So tonight's presentation literally is 5 minutes. If you have questions, please feel free to ask them, you know, because we do want to, we want to be legally compliant, and we also want to make sure that all of your concerns are answered. And a couple of you have emailed me about the website being down for the past several days. That is true. Our website person is working on the changes that legal has asked us to make so that we are legally compliant. I received a text from her this morning saying it should be up sometime today, but she's in California. So, you know, it could be tomorrow when it's up. Even if it's Wednesday, we definitely want to make sure when it comes back up that we're legally compliant so that the SEC and ultimately Finra as well have no questions for us, even though Tawana and I most likely will have to go in and do an interview with Finra. So we're being prepped for that as well. So I'm going to do these slides. It's only going to take me about 5 minutes. I see there's some activity in the chat. We're going to be sure to answer all of your questions. And tonight is just a chance for us to make sure that you have all of your questions answered. So a few months ago, Eric was actually the one that brought this to my attention. there's something called the 3.5% rule out there, which talks about how a small minority of people can change the world. And it's based on a Harvard, I think it's a sociologist or economist, that did these studies and came up with the statistic that it takes 3.5% of community engagement to lead to any kind of social change. Well, if it leads to social change, we're banking and hopefully believe that it could lead to economic change as well. We in the community do need economic change, but it doesn't take a bunch of us to get there. It will take a small percentage of us to get there. So what we want to do is we want to create a community that's focused on economic change from the ground up, focusing on income, assets, entrepreneurship, and generational wealth. So we are building a community of individuals who are supporting Black entrepreneurs and investors. And again, we're looking to be an economic development movement. Within that, we're starting off with education, and there are two types of education that we are going to be offering. These are our knowledge centers, which Dr. Keisha is leading up. The first is around wealth building, and that's everything around making more money, which can include anything from getting different jobs, getting better jobs, negotiating higher pay within your job, all the way to starting side hustles. And we have people coming on to talk about that as well. Developing a wealth plan, reducing debt, repairing credit, changing or discovering careers, developing money savvy kids. Next week, we're having a woman coming on to talk about financial literacy for teens, a woman named Vicki Franklin. Starting family banks. I'm sad to announce, if you were with us with the family bank webinar that we did, the gentleman, Colonel Frank Preston, passed last week. I'm so grateful that he, I'm sorry, like this is gonna be the second time I might cry on a 10K webinar. He had been wanting to do the family bank webinar with me and with my community for a long time. And I'm so grateful that we were blessed with him. If you are new to 10K, I would suggest you watch a family bank webinar. What that family has done is amazing, and the fact that we were able to capture Colonel Preston before his passing is going to live with 10K Project for a long time. So, so building a strong investment portfolio, wealth planning, preserving family wealth, home ownership, micro private equity, and so much more. So our knowledge center is going to be built. We've already started populating the knowledge center. It's going to officially open at the end of October, and we're going to be populating it for the next couple of years with webinars and articles and all sorts of content. And again, I'm sure Dr. Keisha is going to tell us more about that. We also have entrepreneurship as well. So if you want to be an entrepreneur, learning different things with regards to building scalable businesses, networking, hiring, managing teams, marketing and sales, buying businesses, data-driven decision-making. This is like how to understand your Google Analytics and your Facebook Analytics. We have a woman named Jamie who is coming on to teach us those lessons. I've already booked her. So law, taxes, alternative funding, negotiating, time management, health and stress management, especially for entrepreneurs, and so much more. That is coming on the entrepreneur side of the Knowledge Center. And the Entrepreneur Knowledge Center is going to open up in November. And we're going to, again, for the next couple of years, be populating that with just really, really great information for everybody. We do have some upcoming sessions coming up and announcements. So members area is open. That is our Facebook group. We're going to have our Knowledge Center that's opening up, like I said, between the end of October for the Investor Knowledge Center and November for the entrepreneur side. Tomorrow at 5:30, we have Personal Finance with Madam Money. She is going to be here in Zoom with us, so you're able to join us for that. On tomorrow at 7:30, this is for members only, how to build an emerging tech private investment portfolio. A woman named Barbara Bickham is coming on to talk about the different types of emerging tech that is forthcoming, and how you actually understand what some of the entrepreneurs that, you know, present just overall their emerging tech, how to be able to understand what they're talking about and discern if something is, you know, worthy of your portfolio. So that's, again, members only. That's going to be really, really great tomorrow night. On Thursday at 6 p.m., I'm going to do an Instagram Live, and most likely it'll go to Facebook and other places as well. There's a book I want to review around time management for entrepreneurs, and I put in here and other busy people as well. So how do we do time management, you know, for entrepreneurs and in the current environment that we have, where maybe your kids are at home or things are going on all around you all the time. Things are disrupted. How do you still do time management? So if you want to come and join me for that, that'll be on Thursday evening. We already talked about the Finra and SEC application, and I know we probably have questions about that, so we will be sure to answer those questions. And then the final thing is membership is going to open again, I would say hopefully by tomorrow, whenever our website is back up and running. And right now we are talking about the members only wealth building webinars, which we have a calendar of events, so you're able to see which ones are members only versus which ones are public facing. The members only business building webinars, the Knowledge Center exclusive content, which is coming in October. And we also have our business directory, which should be coming in November 2020 as well. We'll give more information with regards to how you can be included in that business directory, and we'll do that over the next couple of weeks. So becoming a member is a one-time payment, access for life. It's $100 one-time payment. When we open up again, hopefully tomorrow, come to the10kproject.com. And you will see where it says become a member, and you should be able to sign up at that time. So with that, I saw a lot of chat and a lot of Q&A. So we have a person here saying, I became a member so I could get help funding my son's clothing line for young Black male fashion. How can I buy my son's business name? How can I get the help to build my portfolio and communicate with manufacturing? So when you say buy your son's business name, do you mean like the domain name, or do you mean a trademark? You probably want to talk to an attorney, an intellectual property attorney, with regards to what your options are. We want to be very careful about giving too much business advice here because of the applications that we're giving. But I would suggest you talk to an intellectual property attorney. If you don't know one, if you go into the Facebook group and ask, I'm sure that there are people who can show you to the correct person. And with regards to getting the help to build, to communicate with manufacturing, Dr. Keisha, you may have that resource, right? We're still trying to get Reverend Art to come on to talk about.
Yes, at the very least, I have someone I can point you to, that's for sure.
Yeah, he would be the best person.
He would be the best person. So yeah, who was that asking?
It
So
was
I can make sure I can.
Tandanico Jones.
Tandanico Jones. Okay, I'll try to reach out directly to you with that. Okay.
So Kim is saying to all of us, all makes sense. These are the rules and best practices. Great work. So thank you for your understanding. Ali is saying understood. Thank you so much for understanding. Devin, where are you? Us in the 30 process, the 30-day process?
The 30-day process.
Okay.
So on August 26th is when we filed the SEC paperwork.
Yeah. And we are in the process of finishing up our Finra information. So again, our attorney has done this before, so it's just a matter of us dotting I's and crossing T's right now. So Shannon is asking, did I miss the Finra explanation? I don't even know if I spelled it right. So it's F-I-N-R-A. That's fine. It's an acronym, actually. Tawana, do you want to do the explanation again?
Yeah, so FINRA stands for Financial Industry Regulatory Authority, and they are the governing body over all things securities. And so to be an approved portal or broker dealer or anything like that, you have to have FINRA approval to be one of their registered vendor partners. And their process is actually more lengthy than the SEC process, which is really interesting to me because we always hear about the SEC bringing down the hammer on people. You would think they would be the lengthier process, but they're actually not. Their paperwork was really simple compared to FINRA's paperwork. I just find that a little interesting. So what happens is SEC makes their determination when you file with them. If they approve you, then you could submit that approval along with a lot of other documents over to FINRA. And then FINRA does their analysis to determine if you are, a viable partner, right? So through the FINRA process is where we all have to get our FBI background checks. We have to submit all of our financials, financials to the extent where it's like the complete paper trail of everything, right? So not just a bank account. They want to see money coming in and out. So it's all of those things. In addition to, lengthy bios, they want to know what everyone's going to be doing, what everyone's responsible for, looking at our credentials, to make sure we can do the job we say we're going to be doing. They are truly the lengthy, I'm an HR person, right? So I see FINRA as, they're the background check people, right? To make sure you can do the job. And so I'm really respecting this process of everything that they're asking for, but it is a lot of stuff. I'm not gonna lie to you guys, like it's a lot. This is not for the faint of heart, I tell you, because it's a lot of stuff that they're asking us for. The good news is we're up for it, but it is definitely a lengthy process gathering everything. And so once they review, and like Cherie said, in addition to all of their paperwork, they could also request an interview. And so Cherie and I would go on behalf of 10K and tell them what we're trying to accomplish here, right? Answer their questions. They want to make sure we understand what the business model is, what the business is, what the rules and the compliance standards around those rules would be, to make sure that we're going to be above board. The thing I love about the government agencies, and I know some of the things that other people hate, but again, I'm an HR person. So I love that they try to save us from ourselves, right? In the sense of making sure we are following all the rules. And I don't mind that at all. I'm used to that kind of environment. So I'm comfortable there. And we just want to make sure that we protect you guys from an investment standpoint, right? And we want to protect the entrepreneurs from an entrepreneurial standpoint. And the thing that's going to be, the thing that everyone needs to remember is in this role, we are really just the intermediary, right? I use my matchmaker analogy for those of you who have been around. That's really all we are, right? So providing the tools so that the parties can come together and benefit each other. But we are really just the mechanism upon which you're going to meet these entrepreneurs, and the entrepreneurs are going to meet their investors. And then in addition to that, we've taken on that education arm, right? Which is everything Cherie just talked about in her slides. So the pivot is not really a pivot for us, right? Because all the education stuff was stuff we already planned on doing. So really what it is for us, which wasn't a big deal when the attorney suggested that we remove things from the website, we said, okay, we just highlight the other stuff, all of the education and the training, webinars that we've been having, the ones that we plan to have. Those are all things that are going to enrich us equally, right? Until we get the approval. And while we can't guarantee the approval, what we can guarantee you is that we're going to do everything we can to meet the criteria and the eligibility requirements. And so, if if those things are enough, then we should be fine. You know, we can't make any promises, but we're going to do our part. We can definitely assure you we're not dropping any balls. We're going to absolutely do our part.
Yeah.
With making sure we get everything done. You know, the biggest thing the attorney wanted us to make sure we said is we are not yet an equity crowdfunding platform. It was important that everyone knows that we are seeking approval, but we have not yet been approved. And we don't want to present ourselves as if we have been. And I think we've been very honest with you guys about that before, that we've been seeking, you know, we were going through the process, we're waiting for approval. But she just thought it was best that we just removed all mention of it because we're not that yet. So talking about what you want to be is a slippery slope, right? When you think about the SEC, who could see it and say, well, wait a minute, I know you think you're going to be this. We haven't told you you're going to be this yet. So you could mislead someone who thinks you're already it. And we don't want to do that. So it was a no-brainer for us to absolutely take everything down and just focus on the education, which was something we were doing anyway. So it's not much of a change for us.
Right. Right. And in fact, we are increasing the amount of education that we're doing. So we have a full calendar of events. One of the things that the web designer is doing is putting our calendar of events on the first page and setting it up so that I can update it. And we're going to have multiple people coming in to talk about everything from wealth planning to, you know, entrepreneurship to time management and productivity and all sorts of things to make us better individuals from an economic point of view. I have a couple of people I'm talking to about different types of careers. I have a woman who focuses on teaching people how to get into technology sales, and you can make a lot of money in that field. You know, so some of you may have a job and you may say, you know, I'd really like a career in something else. So we have a lot of different types of people that are coming. Some of you may already have a business idea in mind, and something that, you know, one of our presenters says may get you to think, oh, okay, that's how I can implement it. So we want to be the catalyst for that as well. So I'm going to go through just to make sure that nobody else had any more questions. So people are saying that they understand.
Yeah, I see Sandra Cole has one.
Okay. I'm going to go through. Oh, so there's one in the queue. Let me go through the chat just because I want to make sure. Julie is saying, thank you for being honest with us. I still believe in 10K and in it for the long haul. I will try again to sign up to pay my $100. Thank you so much, Julie. Felicia's saying, so sorry to hear he passed away. Yeah, I was very sorry too. I got a text message. So people are saying sorry for the loss. He seemed like such a great guy. He really was. He really was. And it was his mission, like the time that I knew him was like the last 7 years, to get Black people to start organizing our families. Like that was his thing. And he kept hammering us over the head with it.
I tell you, I mean, the fact that family had that type of patriarch at the helm, right? Who saw a future for them, for the family members that stuck with that, and even for the ones that didn't, right? Because we all learn, even if we say, you know, damn, I wish I'd have got in there, right? We still learn from the fact we didn't. But he changed literally the trajectory of their life. He changed it. Mm-hmm. All because they were obedient and followed his leadership, right? Imagine the kind of man he had to be for people to want to follow him. Mm-hmm. I mean, that's amazing to me. Yeah. It really is. Yeah. I mean, we were blessed with just that small little blip that we got to spend the time, and imagine the family, how much time they got to spend with him and how much they've learned from him. Yeah. So, Tanzanico is saying, I don't have a Facebook account and don't want one. That's perfectly fine. So let me answer because we do have people who say, I'm not on Facebook, and that's perfectly fine. So we're going to have a couple of things for you. Number one is the majority of what we have is going to be in Zoom anyway. The only time we will not have something in Zoom is some Thursdays when I'm doing an Instagram live, and that is because our co-founder, who's not here, Talisha, is telling me I need to do Instagram native programming. So, you know, blame her, right? Okay, perfect. So the other thing is within the Knowledge Center, we are going to have
all of the content there as well. And we're setting it up hopefully for it to be searchable, as well as people who choose to put themselves in the business directory. That's hopefully going to be searchable as well. Well, we've asked for it to be searchable. That's part of, of what we paid for it to be searchable. So if there's a person that you need, for example, that intellectual property attorney, hopefully that person will be in the system and you're able to put that in as if it were like a Google search or something like that. And, options would show up for you. So that's what we're looking to do. Robert is saying, understood. Dr. Rhett, strong work. You ladies and man are on it. Ali is saying, FINRA holds the power, period.
Great.
Yeah, they do. So, Sandra is saying, is it the vision of the 10K project to introduce the investors to the businesses? And if they chose to invest in a business, I would invest my 5K into 10K or directly into the business. Please explain. Okay, so we want to be careful with our explanation for this. So we are not yet an equity crowdfunding portal. If we are approved, the way that it would work is that the companies would apply to be on the 10K project portal. If they are accepted, they have to complete paperwork for the SEC, and the SEC also has to say yes to them. Then if they are accepted by the SEC, then they will have an opportunity to pitch their business in front of the entire 10K community. Do a live pitch, talk about what their business is, how much they're raising, what are they going to do with the money, all those things you hear on Shark Tank, right? And each individual investor has the opportunity to say, yes, I like this business, I want to buy shares in it, or no, this business is not for me, I'm going to pass. Doesn't mean that they're a bad business. It just means it doesn't fit with you and your portfolio, or that investor in their portfolio, I should say. Then there are some other things that have to take place with regards to, there's an extended period of time where the investor can review the documents, the SEC required documents, the business plan, and say, yes, I'm in, or no, I'm not. An entrepreneur has to reach his or her funding goal in order for those funds to be released to the entrepreneur. And even after an investor says, yes, I'm interested, by law, a equity crowdfunding portal has to still hold the funds in escrow. So the crowdfunding portal doesn't hold the funds, it goes into escrow. And escrow holds the funds for a certain period of time in case the investor changes his or her mind. Okay. But at that point, if everything goes smoothly for the entrepreneur hits his or her funding goal, then they're able to take those funds and use them to grow their businesses. And the best equity crowdfunding entrepreneurs that I've seen keep up with their investors. Some of them choose to do it through social media. Some of them choose to do it through the platform itself where they raised money. Some of them choose to start their own email list of their investors and communicate that way. But the entrepreneur will tell you how they are going to communicate with you. And our goal, the 10K project, focuses on Black entrepreneurs. So if you have additional questions, Sandra, please let us know. Sally is saying, well, we as member entrepreneurs have to go through the process also if we have an investment business also. So will you have to go through the process also? You'll have to go through SEC. Yes, you will. I don't know if you have an investment business.
Yeah, I was going to say that part of the question. We can't answer that without knowing what kind of business it is specifically. But you may have to go through the FINRA process. What I would recommend you do, Sally, is go on sec.gov or finra.org and just research to see what some of the requirements are and if you fit into any of those buckets. Because FINRA will tell you the type of business you have to be in order to be a member with them. is essentially what their approval is. It's approval to be a partner or a member with them. So they may be able to, that website may be able to answer your question without knowing specifically what investment business type you are.
Yeah. So Sandra's asking, would it require an offering memorandum? So all of the requirements required by the SEC is on the SEC website. So if you Google SEC equity crowdfunding, they have a list of items that are required. That is the best way for you to get familiar with what's required. Tandanico saying, why do we always have to go through the red tape? You know, the red tape is not bad, like Tawana's saying. So, and the truth is that everybody has to go through this. This isn't just reserved for us. It really isn't. This is every equity crowdfunding portal that's been approved has had to go through this process. So.
Yeah, and when you think about it, I mean, these are not pennies we're talking about, right? From an investor standpoint, these are hard-earned dollars that, you know, you guys are going to be investing in the businesses. And from an entrepreneur standpoint, right now, the law is they could raise $1,070,000. If somebody could raise $1 million, I'd want there to be some level of oversight, right? Because we want to make sure the businesses do their part with following the rules that are set for them as well. Ultimately, they need to be able to turn a profit. Now, we can't guarantee that, right? Because it's investing. So when we invest, you have to be willing to lose every single penny, right? That's the risk you have to be willing to take, because there are zero guarantees. And with 10K, there are no additional guarantees, still zero, right? Still zero. We're going to do our part to try to vet the businesses the best we can. The SEC does some vetting as well. That's the process they have to follow, but there are no guarantees. So I really don't see the oversight as a bad thing. It's a lot, but I don't see it as a bad thing. You know, I wish we could get it faster because we want to start changing lives, right? So we're so anxious to get busy, but this is necessary. And I like that there are some compliance kind of safety nets that exist in this process, because it's a lot of responsibility, and businesses need the guide. Businesses like this, like the portal, they need the guidance. They really do. So to be able to have an agency that provides some oversight and some answers, you know, a lot of times when we're working with the government, the rules are so convoluted, there's not really guidance. At least with this process, the guidance is really clear. I mean, it really is. From a compliance standpoint, they tell you how to succeed.
Yeah. So I'm going to answer the Q&A, but I do want to answer this one thing. Will investors have to go through the same background checks as entrepreneurs? Great question. The answer is no. However, anybody who does or participates as an investor with any kind of equity crowdfunding has to participate in something called KYC, which is Know Your Customer, which means that there are going to be certain legal documents you have to place onto the portal. I won't say we won't get to see them, but they'll be under extreme lock and key. Only a couple of people in our company will get to see this information. But the US government needs to make sure that there's no money laundering going from you to these businesses. So no, you won't have to go through like some extreme 4-month vetting with Finra, anything like that. That's on us. But you will have to put in certain identification documents, and you will have to put in a tax ID of some sort so that it can be traced back to you.
Right. And remember, you're essentially buying a security, right? That's what equity is. You're buying a share or shares in someone's company. They need to know who their investors are, right? Because they're going to be communicating with you. You ultimately own a part of their organization. They need to be able to know that you are who you say you are and that you are real and all of those things, right? So that's part of it as well.
Yeah. So JP Peterson says, as a business owner, 2 agencies you want to follow the rules for are the IRS and the SEC. Isn't that what I said?
That's what
I
you
said
said,
the 3 agencies that'll put you in prison, the FBI, the IRS, and the SEC. So yes. So Antoine is asking, for the new people here tonight, can you explain what equity crowdfunding is? And what I'm going to do is just show you one slide that explains overall what equity crowdfunding is. this is just overall, this is a real top level overview. So entrepreneurs are able by law to work with an equity crowdfunding portal to raise money. Right now, you can raise up to $1,070,000 from an approved equity crowdfunding portal. That's the process that we're going through now to get that approval to host entrepreneurs. Congress in March did vote for the maximum to be lifted to $5 million. However, they're waiting on the law to be written. And just to give you some perspective, the original law for equity crowdfunding was written in 2012. The law did not go into effect until 2016. So it could be a couple of weeks, even though it's election time, so I doubt it. Or it could be years before this $5 million cap actually goes into effect. So, you know, we don't know when that's going to happen. Okay, so that's part one. Part two is investors, regular everyday people, get to review the company's business plan, their terms of agreement. There are certain forms that the SEC requires to be filled out that are public, meaning that anyone can view those forms. Investors also have the right to do research, which is called due diligence. That's a fancy term for it. And if that investor decides they want to participate in buying shares from that company, that individual investor gets to say, yes, I'm interested, and here's how much money I want to put into the company. And thus, that individual investor will receive equity or partial ownership in that company if they choose to invest. And then part three is if the company makes it big, the crowd shares in the profit. If not, investors only lose what they put into the company. So this is the three-part process that any equity crowdfunding portal and any investor participates in, whether or not you're on 10K or some other portal. Q&A here. Joseph is asking, I would like to bring a product to Publix, to Walmart, and to Target. I know we have some connections in the group. We're working on that. We're working on getting Reverend Art to come. So just, Dr. Keisha's like, oh my God, he promised us he's coming. We're just gonna have to like literally sit down with him with the computer and say, talk to the camera there, everybody's watching you kind of thing.
He's only a preacher, so it's like, come on, really, come on. You know,
he is coming. I've spoken with him. He's actually a really nice guy. He's true to his word. He's just a little camera shy. So.
Camera shy.
Sandra's saying, I'm so excited and joined so I can invest in businesses. Who should I call as I have additional questions? Sandra, if you wouldn't mind asking your questions here, because our attorney also asked us not to like answer questions one-on-one, and also not to email like stuff. So she specifically said, do it in these public forums so everyone can hear the answers. So if you could just put your questions in, either the chat or the Q&A first, we'd really appreciate it. Dedrick is saying, KYC, I'm in banking compliance. It's great to hear that the proper measures are being taken. Yes, it's by law. So Rebecca's asking, can an investor be of any nationality? Oh yes, absolutely. Absolutely. We have other ethnicities that want to invest in businesses, and they've become 10K members. So yeah. Tandanico is saying, I'm camera shy too, don't feel too bad. He's a preacher though. You would think he'd be okay with it, right?
No, he's okay in a room with people. He's not okay on camera. If we had an auditorium invited people, he'd probably love that idea.
Yes, because he's like, why don't everybody come to Detroit? Because he's in Detroit, you know. So yes. So Lee's asking, are only investors part of the think tank or part of the resource center? No. So anybody can be a part of the resource center, Lee. So if you have a topic, email me, info@the10kproject.com, info@the10kproject.com. Let us know what your topic is. And if, you know, it works with us, then we'll put you on the calendar to come and do a webinar. Or you can present information to Dr. Keisha if it's something in writing. Debbie's asking, will there be an FAQ area with the list of these great questions? When we are approved, yes. The legal asks us to take down the FAQs right now. So when we,
FAQs are about crowdfunding.
if we are approved, yes.
But this
Dr.
replay,
You got a raised hand too here.
we do post this replay in the Facebook group. I know some of you are not on Facebook, but we do post these weekly replays all the time. So anyone who comes into the community can see this again.
Yeah. Can an entrepreneur require more than $100 as a minimum investment? Having to keep track of 10K investors sounds like a nightmare. Okay, great question. The answer is no. The minimum for any investor is $100. So that's on our platform. We want to keep it like that so that we can keep it affordable for people. That doesn't mean that you won't have people that will put more money in. The second question that you have with regards to keeping track of 10,000 investors, you may not necessarily have to do that yourself. There are people called, is it transfer agents, Tawana?
Yes.
Transfer agents, yes, that do that administrative work for you. And in fact, I think above a certain amount of money, they're actually required to work with you. So if you're raising, let's say $1 million, you would have to use a transfer agent and they would be the administrative piece for those 10,000 investors. So
yeah, and you know, our portal, excuse me, when we're approved,
if and when
we're approved, our technology will keep track of all of the investment activity to be able to pass that on to the entrepreneur, right? But at the end of their campaign.
Yeah.
So, you know, the system's keeping track of all of that. If an investor invests and then change their minds and cancels, like the system's keeping track of all of that. So the technology is helping us where it won't be much of a nightmare at all.
Yeah.
In most deals, I would imagine all 10,000 people in the community, or however many people in the community, because we use 10,000 as a nice target goal, but you know, we'd love to have 1 million people in this community investing in other in businesses. So
we will. Our 3.5% is really 1.4 million people, and we can do that. We can absolutely do that. So. Sally is asking, if you have more than one business, can both businesses be represented? We are going to have a guide coming out for entrepreneurs who want to raise money on the platform. That is something we'll have to talk about with legal to make sure of. So
yeah, I wouldn't imagine that you couldn't pitch both businesses at the same time, right? I mean,
I would think so, because you have a certain limit with regards to how much money you can raise in a 12-month period, which is why I said that's a legal question. So Sally, keep that in mind. We're actually going to write that down.
Yep.
And that's something that's going to go in the guide, because people may have that question. So,
Sally, are you already a member? If you are, I
think so.
Okay. I'll send you a note to let you know the answer to that question also, but I'll ask that question.
Sandra is asking, since the businesses are going through the SEC, who ensures that the business has done the due diligence to ensure their paperwork is correct and financials are audited? We own a CPA firm and small businesses rarely understand the requirements. Good question. Okay,
very good question.
So here is the deal. Over a certain amount of money that the company is raising, they have to have audited financials. Otherwise, underneath, I think it's $107,000, they are able to self-certify, okay? So we, Sandra, are going to have our business directory. If you are a member and you need to be an entrepreneur member to add your information in, We believe that there are going to be companies coming through that need the audited financials, or just need people to help them with their financials, period, whether or not it's audited. Because we are also going to be educating our investors on how to read financial statements and understand, how money moves and where money is going with regards to looking at the financials. So I would suggest a couple of things. Number one is, if you want to be one of our entrepreneur members, stick around. In November, we'll be letting people know information with regards to that. Number two is, as the portal, we have limited, we are not able to look at something and say, that doesn't look right. We have to act within the law. If the CPA certifies that it's correct, then we can't go behind the CPA and say, no, it's not, right? If the business has signed something certifying to the SEC that something on the Form C is correct, we again can't say, no. So we have to go within the law.
Right. So our role is really to make sure you have all of the pieces, right?
Yes.
So do you have financials, right? It's not our job to say what they look like or to analyze them. Have you completed all of the necessary components that the Form C requires you to have? And we're going to have a checklist to, yep, I have that. Yep, I have that. Yep, I filled this out. Yep, I filled out question 9. Yep, I filled out question, we're doing that level of check. And if people have questions, what goes in this field, we can assist with that. This is where you would put the blah, blah, blah. But we can't, we have to be very careful to stay in our lane, because we are just the portal. Yeah. And so we don't get to certify anyone's legitimacy, right? We just make sure that we don't want there to be delays. So obviously we want them to complete the form properly before they submit it to SEC, because you don't want any kind of delay, and we will help with that process. But we can't analyze the information that's on there or advise as to what someone should add there from a personal standpoint. Definitely we will not be looking at the financials. So I love, Sandra, that you have a CPA firm, because we're going to need CPAs in our community, because I'm sure entrepreneurs will need CPA assistance. So I love that you're already here.
Absolutely. So Sally is saying, yes, okay. Also hoping to find people who have the expertise to help me grow the business. Is this allowed? Actually, it's not only allowed, it's encouraged, which is why we're going to have that Entrepreneur Knowledge Center. We're going to be bringing in a lot of different types of experts to talk about various parts of entrepreneurship. And everyone is going, all of the Knowledge Center individuals, as well as people, entrepreneur members of the community, are also going to be within our business directory. So you're able to talk to, I would suggest talking to several people before you decide on a final person that you're going to work with within your business. So Capri is asking, so I can't invest for me and my company, my mother, my brother, and so on. Not under one tax ID, no. Your mother will have to get her own account. Your brother will have to get his own account. We do have people that have other tax ID numbers for other reasons. That'll come out in the FAQs when we release them, if and when we are an approved portal. So you'll be able to check that out. But no, everybody has to have their own account based on the KYC laws. So,
and I'll say the only exception to that is if they were a business, right? And they invested, like you think about the Family Investment Club, they would have to be a business entity, and then they could invest under that entity. Now, still the same limits that apply based on income and all of that, but a business can invest in equity crowdfunding.
Yes. So I'm sorry, I'm answering this question here on Facebook. So, okay. Oh, I think we have a couple of additional questions here.
Mark
Okay. Hi, Sheree, you're still helping with business plans. I need to hire you. Okay, here's the deal with the business plans. If you intend to raise money on 10K platform, I cannot help you. However, if you are not intending to raise money on the 10K project platform, then you can email me info@the10kproject.com. I'll give you my other website and other information, and we can move from there. So Capri was saying, yes, I was saying it in that manner. Oh, my mother, my brother, my sister. Yeah, no. Alrighty then. Darla. So shall my word be that goes? Oh, this is Isaiah. Okay, Isaiah 55:11. Speak things into existence as though they were. So, except when you're dealing with United States legalities, we're gonna keep with the if and when. Our attorney was like, don't
In our
say
prayer
that.
closet, though, we're praying.
We are praying. Inside, we're like,
praying.
please, Jesus. But just for capturing it on video and out here, we just need to be careful. So alrighty then. I want to give Dr. Keisha and Eric a chance to talk for a second, because both of you have been super quiet.
Well, I really did just want to jump in to just encourage, well, for one thing, just want to encourage everybody to continue to reach out to us with regard to their expertise. Let me know what you are willing to contribute to the Knowledge Center. We are absolutely looking for all those different topics that were already discussed. And I want to thank those who have already submitted. We appreciate you. It's tough being the first, people to come out. I guess the biggest thing I want to just remind anyone who is submitting content to the Knowledge Center is that it indeed is actionable and information that people can really learn from and use. And a lot of times, certainly you're not trying to give all your stuff away, but if you could give us some, some tips and tricks, some checklists, some, templates to use, things like that to jumpstart our, our knowledge in whatever the topic that you have the expertise in. And then certainly we can reach out to you for more information. But we're looking for multiple people, as we've mentioned before, along some of the same topics. Even we've talked about some of the topics we already have covered. We're looking for more people, even on those same topics as well. So, so we can have a variety of perspectives and information. So I do appreciate everybody who's come forth. And again, at this point, our website is down for the moment, but you can certainly email me at the10kproject.com. Thank you.
Yeah, I just want to say for everyone, thank you so much for, trusting us and being patient with us. Early on, like one of the things we really talked about was full transparency and also trust. And it's really important for us to do things above board. We've seen this kind of affect other organizations, and maybe in hindsight, maybe I guess they would look back and wish they had done it in this way, of dotted all the I's and crossed all the T's. We trust you. We really value you and your money that you're giving. So we want to just handle it with real care. So just want to tell everyone, thanks again, for your patience and your trust with us going forward. Just want to say it again, like we will make sure that everything is done in the right way, always with this organization.
Yeah, there was a couple of other questions here. Maria's asking, can I set up a self-directed IRA account to invest? The answer is yes. So we have spoken with a couple of different vendors. We have another one that was also introduced to us that was referred to us, I should say, that we are also speaking with. So if and when if and when, we will have that as an option. And the vendors that we've spoken with also said that they're going to come and do a presentation for the community. So, you know, we're working really hard on a lot of different angles. Stephen is asking, if someone is helped with the business plan outside of the 10K project, can they return with that business plan to the 10K project? Yes, absolutely.
Not a bad question. Cherie's getting ready to help somebody go to another portal, so of course.
Why am I going to help someone go to another portal?
Well, he said he needed help with his business plan. If he's an entrepreneur, he can't do it here. So if you write it and he wants to raise money, he'd have to go somewhere else to raise his money.
No, I wouldn't. Yeah. So that's what I was saying. If you're not doing equity crowdfunding at all, then yes.
Well, if he's not doing it at all, but what you said to him was, if you want to raise money with 10K, then I can't write it.
Well, I would hope that if you're going to do any equity crowdfunding, period, but
you would do it with the
but
10K project.
You are the ultimate entrepreneur, and you know what's best for your business. So, no. Dr. Rhett is saying, can the 10K start a vetting process for members? It's too easy for detractors, spies, and saboteurs to get in. I am worried. I can understand that concern. However, with the paywall that we haven't seen any detractors and saboteurs. I have not seen any.
Yeah, I've only seen it, last week when we had our, 2 weeks ago when we had our live, but that was just the one time. I'd say, Dr. Rhett, don't be worried. The 10K's mission is very, very simple, right? We want to help Black entrepreneurs raise the money that they need, right, to scale their business. We want to do that through an improved equity crowdfunding portal, right? That's what we're trying to become. We want to also help investors get that early start, right, with investing in businesses that haven't made millions and millions of dollars yet, so that when they do, right, you've invested early, which is something that doesn't often happen. We can't promise an ROI, but we're going to vet companies with the plan in mind that we want them to be able to scale. Our mission is simple. The community, we want to educate you all on being able to be better entrepreneurs, better investors, and just all around give you knowledge, right? Even if you're not an entrepreneur, a lot of these webinars we're having, they can transfer to other areas of our lives easily, right? People are talking about businesses, but some of the values that they're giving us can easily be transferable in other areas. So the work we're trying to do here, if someone comes in here and tries to be a saboteur, they won't get far because the community will regulate it, right? And we're not above removing someone who's disrespectful or disruptive because there's no place for that here. But I don't worry that you guys will let people get too far in foolishness because we're all here for a purpose. And when someone comes and shows their face and they don't share that same value, I truly believe this community will regulate things. I really, really believe that. And then the saboteur will get bored, right? Because they only want to rile us up. They only want to get our attention and help, and they want us to be negative and when we don't do that, they'll get tired and they'll move on somewhere else because it won't be any fun here for them.
Yeah, correct. And we did report them to Zoom. So Zoom has a reporting feature for any kind of negative behavior like that. And hopefully they not only looked at the person's email address, but maybe their IP address or things like that. So, there's a guy named Grant Cardone that I follow who says, if you don't have haters, you're not doing enough or you're not out there enough, and one thing he says is anytime you're doing big things in the world, the haters are going to come. And I know not everybody's Christian in here, I'll say that, but as long as I'm planted in Jesus and I'm doing right by all of you as members, that's all I can do. And other than that, they're going to come and we just have to be prepared. So,
yeah. I think the key is for us to be very clear on who we are and what we stand for, right? And I believe we're doing a good job of showing this community who we are and what we stand for.
And I want to add too, our community is showing us that you are who we think you are, because I'm telling you, when we had that little interloper situation, it was, you guys were wonderful. We
Yeah,
just
you
turned
stuck
it
with us. We
around,
really appreciate it. Yeah.
it was tremendous. So
Yeah.
yeah, we know that you are our people.
Yeah.
You are the community, and it will be so boring for those folks. Trust me.
Yeah.
It was really, stupid stuff. Like I'm a high school teacher, and truly, like you're saying, it will be boring for them because
Yeah, and I'm in HR. Little name calling is nothing in my book.
seriously, right?
That's a Tuesday.
And I will say this as well, for the couple of
music
people that
industry
came
is
in
way
and
worse.
caused issues, I've gotten so many other emails from non-Black people who said, I support you, I support what you're doing. Can I be a member? I'm not here to, cause any issues, or I just want to support. And I get a lot of that behind the scenes. So, and there are people who want to support as well. So,
We're trying to change lives, and there are people out there that don't want our lives to change. You better believe people are going to come here and try to act up. That's expected, right? But we've got a bigger mission. There are entrepreneurs waiting for us to help them. There are investors waiting for us to help them. And when and if we are approved, we will do just that.
So Joseph has a couple of final questions, and then we're going to let everyone go and have their lunch. Joseph's saying, first of all, I got my book from Twyla.
Oh, nice. I didn't get mine yet. Nice.
Oh, yeah, I got mine too.
Oh, good. I haven't gotten mine yet.
Nice.
Yes. So Twyla was awesome. She did recognizing the scalable business. She was here for like an hour and a half with us. And all I can say is, if you are an investor, if you're an entrepreneur, if you're just somebody that needs a good motivation, Twyla's webinar was awesome. Then Joseph is asking, if the SEC says no, then what? If they say no, then we continue with the Knowledge Center. We continue with, economic development from the ground up. How do we get our families coordinated? How do we take the lessons that Colonel Preston and Robert Cook and Twyla and these other people are giving us, and actually take it and make a difference in our families' lives and in our communities' lives? We continue on. We just won't have that vehicle. But if you believe in the power of prayer, pray for us.
There's some other options also. There's some other, don't count us out.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's what I'm thinking too.
There's some other options to still help with funding. There's still some other options.
Yeah. So the final thing that I will say is that because we're not going to spend as much time talking about equity crowdfunding on these Monday lives, we are going to start reincorporating some of the conversations that we were having before we, started taking 40 minutes to talk about equity crowdfunding. So remember a couple of months ago, we talked about Robert Smith's 2% solution, and, we had a great conversation about that. So starting next week, we're going to have an article of the week, and we are going to have those conversations as well, kind of like a fireside chat or something like that, where we're going to talk about something that affects Black economics at some point, whether it's a piece of legislation. Again, it's not Republican, Democrat, but just a piece of legislation that's coming out, or things that we should be aware of, or things that like different types of grants that are out there. There's a lot of money coming our way, letting people know here's some things that are being offered to the community, and what do we think about these things, et cetera. So, and we'll also have a little bit of a book club sometimes. So, there's going to be a lot happening within 10K, and you'll definitely want to stick around for that. Final question, Capri is asking if I've started reading Family Wealth by James Hughes Jr. I've read it a few years ago, and yes, it is on my bookshelf, and we will be doing book club around that. I know I keep saying that, but we will do book club around the Family Wealth book, definitely. So that'll be for members only though. So you gotta be a member to be a part of that. So Okay, anybody else? Tawana, Dr. Keisha, Eric, do you
I was
have?
gonna say, let's get
Oh,
back
the
to school.
mask. Yes, I'm sorry. So,
I wish
as
I
you
had
can
one. We all
see,
could have put them
we're
on.
about to show Miss Tawana, and actually, let me do this. Let me,
See it good?
Yeah.
yes, the gallery view there. So Miss Tawana has the 10K project founding members mask. Isn't she such a beautiful model?
Exactly. There you go. There you go. Throw the hair back.
So the way, so what's happening is we have sent an email to all of our founding 1,000 members. You should have received the email last Thursday, Friday-ish. It would have said founding member gifts, and then it would have said a couple of other things in the subject line. And last I checked a couple of days ago, we had 200 people fill out the form letting us know where to ship your mask, because we don't want to ship your mask to the wrong place. So you need to tell us where to ship your mask. For the next couple of weeks, I will be heavily promoting for all of our founding members to complete your form so that we can get the mask to you. Because I'm sure come October, Tawana's family is going to say, get these masks out of
This
our
big
living
old
room.
box by the front door.
So we need to have 1,000 people. and so we do have your credit card addresses, but that may not be where you get mail.
Right.
So that's the reason why we want you to confirm your mailing address.
And I
okay?
did buy the envelopes and the labels over the weekend. So I'm going to start putting them in envelopes, and I'll just stick, print labels and put it on it, but I'm going to start fulfilling.
Yes,
so I can
yes.
get that box out. And I'll just share. So this is mine. So I wore it this weekend, and I don't know if you guys have been like I've been since this whole COVID thing. Like as soon as you get in the car, you're like, oh, you're like, you can't wait to get the mask off.
Yeah.
I had this thing on almost probably 3 hours and never took it off, and never felt like I needed to take off. Now I was walking around and I was outside, but it is so breathable that it's not uncomfortable. And I had a little issue getting it around these particular earrings with the hoops, but over the weekend I had a different pair and it stayed on my ear without any issue. But I did not feel the need to rip it off as soon as I got in the car. Like a couple of times I had to be reminded, we're in the car, crazy. Take the mask off. So I took it off. I was like, oh, wow. So it's not bad. I actually, it passes my mask test of being able to breathe in it. As somebody who gets a little claustrophobic, this is actually not bad at all. So,
It would be nice too to have some of our once members start to get them. We start to get some pictures. You guys show us some
Yes,
stuff.
please
post
do
it
some
on
pictures.
Instagram. Yeah,
We may do some
us.
prizes for best pictures.
Ooh.
I don't know. Y'all might have to bribe me to do some prizes for best pictures.
but yes, fill out that form so I can get these mailed out.
Yeah, so tomorrow I will send out the email again. And if you are, because I need to get the replay rendered and all of that. So if you can fill that form out tomorrow for us, or go look in your email. It should have been sent out last Thursday. It says founding member gifts definitely was the subject. So you should be able to find it. So yes. So 2020 is the year of the mask. And we just said, hey, you know what? We might as well just commemorate it.
Really, basically.
And in regards to t-shirts, we are going to have t-shirts. You will have to buy your t-shirt because I really want a t-shirt too now. So we will have to buy our t-shirts. We're looking at a couple of different vendors. We're trying to find a Black vendor, but we're also trying to find somebody that could potentially do it, what they call just in time, meaning that each person orders it and they're able to print it instead of us ordering a whole bunch of sizes that people don't need and all of that. So that is
a great recommendation from the community of someone who does that. What we don't have is a designer yet. And so if you design t-shirts, right, so that we don't have to send it to Pakistan to get designed and then it's fulfilled in the United States, shoot us a note and let us know you do some design work and show us some samples too. And please really be a t-shirt designer. Don't just start today because I said we need a designer. Like really, like make that your thing. Like don't.
So Chris, Eric is like really concentrating. When Eric is concentrating, he just doesn't look like he's smiling. He's happy.
That smile, bro.
He's happy. Don't he knows we gonna be all right. So he's just really focused on a couple of other things right now, working hard for us. So Amazon sells t-shirt printers, and I have one. Well, reach out to us, info@b10kproject.com. info@b10kproject.com. Yeah. All righty. God bless everyone. Hope you have a great evening. And tomorrow, don't forget, we have Madam Money at 5:30, and that's open to the public. And then we have building a strong emerging tech portfolio. So if emerging tech is your thing, or if you're just curious about it, then tomorrow night at 7:30, we're going to have that. So definitely check into those. We will be sending the calendar of events to all of you. Okay. Thanks everybody. Night.
Hi, guys.
Right, everybody.